Hi, you just surfed into jeffandrus.com. Surfing, hang 10, kayabunga, shooting the curl. Those are surfing terms. I don't know anything about the sport, and I don't even know why they use the term for the internet, but they do. And I just wanted to show you that I was with it. I'm trendy. Last 2 weeks in December and the first 2 weeks of January this year, the new year, 2011, I spent a lot of time in bed. I didn't want to be there, and if I was going to be there, I wished there was a 19-year-old blind girl there with me, but there wasn't. There was a television set. So I watched a lot of television. I watched marathon, back-to-back episodes of a host of shows that did me absolutely no good whatsoever. Among them was the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is where you have a middle-aged woman acting like rather spoiled teenagers, gossiping and backstabbing, and so self-absorbed that they all think that they're alpha females, and whatever that means, and they're not. They're sort of infantile and childish. The other thing is they seem to be thoroughly materialistic, and thirdly, I don't know if they were ever good looking. I'm assuming that they probably were. But what they've done with reconstructive surgery, I mean, they got these clown lips, and each one of them seems to be carrying enough plastic to start her own Tupperware party. Now, it's either is that the surgeon's fault, or are they just sort of just have this horrible self-image and keep on shifting and just whatever. The odd thing was, as I was taking delight in watching these dysfunctional lives play out on screen. Why would you let a camera there? Why would you do that? They did. As I was taking delight in this, though, something began to happen to me. I realized something I didn't really like about myself. In an odd way, they were a mirror of who I am. I'm also materialistic. I just hide it, But I think that they're what the kind of stuff that they surrounded themselves with, the opulence with which they surrounded, was very gaudy to my taste. But I wouldn't mind trying it for a while. And if I did, it would begin to corrupt me. It would corrupt me. So there's an envy that I saw, and also, ever since high school, I've realized that whoever anybody is, when they look in the mirror, even the most beautiful girl in school, or the most handsome guy, they always see a flaw. That's what we are as human beings. It happens is these ladies think they can pay to fix the flaw, but the flaw is really deep within. Speaking of that, the other show I watched was Fatal Attractions. Not with Glenn Close, not with Mike Douglas. These are people who, whatever neediness there is in themselves, project it, and they begin to believe that certain wild animals, particularly exotic wild animals, are like they can really understand them. That somehow they're outcasts, and these outcast animals can accept them, and so you have like Wolf Girl takes in a whole pack of wolves, and gets eaten. It's not pretty, or someone with Rory the rattlesnake. He's like a brother to me. He's my father. He's a child, and I'm dead. So these shows were just about people getting themselves killed with their animals. The other show I watched was Holmes, Holmes, on Holmes, Homes. Holmes as in Sherlock, although the guy's name is Mike. Homes as in structures or abodes. This guy is a Canadian contractor, and up in the great frozen north in not America, he deals with people, ordinary people like you and I, who've bought a new home, who've paid to have a home remodeled, who've done something with their time and treasure and their dreams of their heart and turned it over to a contractor. And by the time Holmes comes in, the contractor beat cheeks with their money, and doesn't show any signs of coming back. And Holmes will find things like garages, brand new garages, that are leaking gasoline fumes into the brand new nursery. Yeah, electrical boxes that will eventually short out and burn down the whole house. Time after time, from rotting drywall, water leakage, moisture barriers that are put up wrong, a whole host of things. If you can think about it in terms of building, he's found it, and he found it not working. Now I'm getting angry. Okay, I think this is really outrageous. Anybody should get away with this. And he's passionate about trying to fix it and pointing out what the problems were. The problems are really simple. People don't get permits, even though they're required to. Or if they do get permits, the authorities assigned to inspect the work don't do a good job of it. So you have a whole series of people taking money from work they haven't finished or haven't finished well. Authorities who aren't enforcing the laws that we have, and who wants more regulations? I'm not in favor of that. And consumers is totally screwed. To me, this was a metaphor, not just a Canadian. My son is a contractor and a building inspector, and I hear stories from him. So, Homes on Homes is not an indictment of Canada. What it really is a metaphor for the kind of business that North Americans accept as normal. Speaking of normal, there were other shows. Whether you're watching something on the Bravo network. The Bravo network is interesting because it wants you to think that anybody who's gay is a mincing, cruising, lisping homosexual, the worst stereotype that a heterosexual could have come up with 50 years ago. They get these people out of circuses. I don't know where they get them. And on other channels, as well as Bravo, they want you to think that heterosexuals are just jumping in and out of bed with each other. Oh, I wish. But it doesn't, that's the image that they project. And I don't think they call each other on the phone and saying, let's corrupt the morals of America. But they obviously have something in themselves that they want Americans to accept. And we are accepting things that we would never have accepted before because of television. I have some friends from Montana, and we were discussing the Real Housewives. And I said, this is terrible, the kind of values they're bringing into my new home. My new home is fairly remote. It's still an urban area, but it's fairly remote. And the people have relatively speaking, a sort of purity that I didn't see with people in California. And I'm saying these people are being corrupted by the kind of shows that they're being seen. And my friend said, no. He says, they look at that stuff from this point of view as if it's Marlon Perkins hosting Wild Kingdom. And I thought that was funny for about a day, and then I realized that's not really true. The people here don't have the money, nor are there the places where they can get the styles that they've seen, but they shoot themselves up with a drug as easily as anybody on television, and to them, that is what's happening. It's becoming more and more of a problem. While I was doing all this, of course, what it's doing to me is I'm getting more cynical, and two, I'm not praying or reading, and I'm not interacting with my family. I'm just kind of mumbling, "Oh God, we're on the road to ruin." Like I didn't know that, but I remembered a fantasy I used to have. The fantasy was that there would be a really wealthy mogul, a captain of industry, male or female, I don't care, I'll call him though. And for some reason he laid up in bed. Now he's been too busy to ever watch television, right? Maybe the news a little bit. He doesn't get to watch television. But because he's in bed for a week, he's watching it. And it finally gets to him. What his family is seeing, what his neighbors are seeing, what his workers are seeing, what his politicians are watching. What's coming through is mental and emotional sewage that's destroying human dignity. And this fantasy figure of mine says, oh, well, I got to do something about that. And he realizes after not very long, that he can't work in Hollywood. Because that's where the spawn of Satan is. You know, they'll take your money to do a show of anything you want, and they'll take more money to show it, and more money, and you'll get nothing back. You don't get any profits, because those are all crooks. Most of them. What he realizes is he has to create a whole new infrastructure. That's why he's the captain of industry, and that's why he can do it. And to produce and distribute and broadcast and all the stuff that's needed to counter the stuff that we get right now. Now, what kind of stuff would this be? It wouldn't be overtly religious programming. I actually don't like overtly religious programming. I'm not a friend of it. But it would be informed by what you might call religious values or eternal verities, say the Ten Commandments, something that Muslims and Jews and Christians could agree on, that good people could agree on. So that heroes would be heroes. They might be flawed, but they would have standards that you don't see so-called heroes on television having. And the other thing is the woman would be good looking. Good looking from the inside out, not because they've had, Dr. Feelgood injecting them with stuff. Anyway, it's a fantasy, right? That guy doesn't exist. He didn't come forward, and here we are. Here we are, galloping towards what? February? And this, I guess, February is Valentine's Day. Why don't you be my Valentine? No, I'm only kidding. I don't want you to be my Valentine. I've got a couple already. But I hope you have a good one anyway. A good Valentine's Day and days in between. God bless.